For the past few years, Cadillac's luxury models have seemed, well, just a little bit outdated and not quite up to par with the competition. Well, all that changes in 2020. Cadillac has introduced a new lineup of luxury vehicles, which includes this 2020 Cadillac CT5 Premium Luxury Sedan. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a full tour and review of this model to tell you how it's changed, how it's better, and what sort of cool features and options you can get on this. All that and more is coming up in today's video, so definitely stick around till the end. Let's get right into it. We're going to take a full look at the refreshed design on the exterior of this CT5 in just a minute, but before we get there, I figured why not begin this review with the part that, let's be honest, people are really here to see, which is the interior of the CT5. This is where you'll be spending the majority of the time if you buy one or come to the dealership to look at one. And for that reason, I think the interior is the most important part of any car, especially a luxury car like Cadillac. And I will say, this is probably the area which is most improved for Cadillac's new lineup of models. Their older generation versions, while they were definitely more comfortable than your average Chevy or Toyota, they really weren't up to par in terms of modern technology and styling elements. Well, I will say they've definitely refreshed the CT5 in a fantastic job of it. It doesn't look outdated at all, which the old models were really starting to. Now we're going to take a full look at the technologies and the features and everything you need to know, but I'd like to start off with just a general review of how comfortable this car is. It is a very nice, well laid out interior. It definitely feels like something you could sit in for extended periods of time. The base model comes with a faux leatherette trim, although this upgraded premium CT5 has genuine leather trim on the seats, as well as beautiful, soft, perforated leather on this sporty steering wheel. And this is a very soft leather. All around the interior, you're going to get high quality materials that definitely feel like they belong in a luxury car and are very comfortable to hold and touch. The seats are actually standard with 12-way power adjustments here in the front, including 2-way lumbar support. So you can be comfortable no matter what size you are or what driving position you prefer. It is definitely a very nice seat design, a good amount of cushion. Maybe not the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in, but definitely good enough for long car trips or even just your daily commute to work. In terms of storage, Cadillac included a ton of little spaces all around the car, so you definitely have somewhere to keep your snacks or your phone. There are 2 cup holders here underneath the sliding trim piece, and in addition to that, there is a folding center armrest, which features a small box that has the USB charge ports, as well as a 12-volt power outlet and a little bit of a sliding change drawer. And this is going to allow you to store bigger items that might not fit in those cup holders. Now, it does have USB charge ports, as I just mentioned, but if you don't want to use those and you have a phone that can charge wirelessly, there's also a wireless charge pad up here on the center console area. And it's really nice to see wireless charge pads like that here in the CT5. That is definitely not something you would have found in the previous generations in the CTS. So it's really cool that Cadillac is really getting along with the competition here in terms of modern technology. But now that we've segmented into the technology portion of this interior, I figured we might as well mention the crowning jewel of this interior, which is that gorgeous high-resolution, sharp infotainment system up there on the dashboard. That is a massive screen, which feels like a tablet stuck up there on the dashboard, and it is very responsive, very high resolution. It is easy to use, easy to navigate. All around, I just love this new infotainment system. It is far better than what we were seeing in their older models, and it's just all around a great system. Now, a couple highlights I'd like to point out with this system that I really love is that it comes standard with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and this is going to allow you to connect your phone wirelessly to this screen and display some of your apps up there, like Google Maps, your Waze, or even your Spotify. You can actually get those apps up here in the built-in screen of the car from your phone. So that's a really cool feature that's in most cars these days. But what I also love is that there are many different ways to control it. If you don't like using the touchscreen and getting your dirty fingerprints all over it, Cadillac also has a standard rotary dial controller here on the center console. And it feels very nice in your hand. It's pretty high quality tactile materials, but it also has some shortcut buttons that allow you to navigate more quickly through the submenus. Now, while you're navigating through those submenus, if you want to get back to the home screen, that is super easy as well. Cadillac has included a home button up here on the dashboard. You just press that, it'll take you right back to the main menu. Simple as that. Cadillac is including this feature in the majority of their new models, at least all the new models I've seen, and it is a really, really nice feature that I feel more manufacturers need to integrate. Having a physical home button right next to the main infotainment in the car is just a really, really easy to use feature. Now, another screen that's in this CT5 is going to be here by the gauge cluster. There are two analog style gauges with a variety of lights in them that look very pretty, but it also has an available 8-inch gauge display, and that'll be able to, show you a lot of different information about the car. You can actually pull up some of the navigation settings in here, as well as obviously accessing the media and all sorts of cool things like that. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, as great as the front seats of the CT5 are, the rear seats are just a tad bit disappointing, and that's for a couple key reasons. Now, they do feature the same general design and materials as the front seat, so they're trimmed with this beautiful soft leather, and there's some nice kind of wood panel-esque trim up on the door panel. Now, that all looks very nice, but when you're actually back here sitting in the rear seats, they're not that comfortable. There's plenty of legroom if you want to stretch out your long legs like I have, but there's just a tad bit too little headroom in here. And that's probably a result of this sunroof up here. It just really cuts into headroom, and at 6'2", I have hardly any room to spare sitting on the outer two seats, and sitting in the middle seat, well, I guess I'll try it for you guys, but there is really no way I could fit here for an extended period of time. So Cadillac really needs to work on the headroom of this model, maybe reconfigure the roof of it to be a little bit less sloping to really allow more space for the interior passengers. But other than that, the rear seats are still kind of missing something. It does have a 12-volt power outlet as well as a USB-C charge port and a couple climate vents, but there's no climate controls back here. In fact, this CT5 does not feature tri-zone climate control. The front two seats each get their own climate zone. The rear seats just get whatever's left. You can't actually customize these rear seats to make sure that the rear seat passengers are just as comfortable as the front. And this is kind of a disappointment considering that here in the CT5 Premium model, you're spending over $50,000. For that price, I would expect all 5 passengers to be as comfortable as possible. And don't get me wrong, it's not too bad back here. There's still the nice leather and there's plenty of legroom. It's just not as good as the competition. But on a more positive note, the trunk area of this CT5 is pretty spacious. It's actually got an electronic opening button up in the front seats, and it offers 11.9 cubic feet of cargo space, which for a car in this class, in this segment of luxury sedans, that's really not that bad. I could definitely get along daily driving this with that amount of cargo space. But hey, now that we've finished our tour of the CT5's interior, let's take a full view 360 look around this exterior, because Cadillac has redesigned this as well for the 2020 generation to fit in with the more modernized competition. And I gotta say, this model looks infinitely, exponentially better than the outgoing models and the CTS did from Cadillac's lineup. Those models, while they weren't bad looking, they were starting to get just a tad bit outdated, whereas this CT5 is not even remotely outdated. It looks very sleek and very modern, and really like it could fit in anywhere. Now, we're gonna start things off with a look and a little bit of a tour here in the front fascia of the car, which features some of my favorite elements in Cadillac's design language. And that's really highlighted up here with this massive chrome trim piece going around the Cadillac V-style grille. Now, this grille is important for several reasons, mostly because it's got a gorgeous style to it with chrome trim pieces all throughout. Looks really, really nice, setting off the styling on the nose of the CT5, but also because it has some cool technology. Now, standard in the CT5, this has an active grille shutter feature. And what this is gonna do is actually open or close a series of flaps behind this grille, either to improve airflow and aerodynamic efficiency, or to allow air to be flown into the interior where it's gonna cool down that powertrain and feed the turbos with that engine, which we're gonna be taking a look at in just a minute. So it's really cool that Cadillac offers this extra grille shutter feature standard in the CT5. It really shows their dedication to technology. Now, speaking of technology, there are some other cool features up here, including the standard LED headlights. Now, these have a really gangster look to them. They look very cool, especially with this dark maroon color. They really stand out. But what I love most about them is that they have LED daytime running lamps in a vertical fashion going along the whole front end of the car. Now, this is very similar to Cadillac's other models like the Escalade and the new XT6, which I've reviewed before, and it really gives the brand a signature look, so you're always going to recognize it when it's coming towards you on the road, and it's also going to do a great job of lighting up the road at night. So I definitely love the front end of the car and especially these LED headlights. But the cool features continue along to the side of the car, where we've got some more chrome trim around the windows, some painted mirror caps right here that look very, very nice with the gloss black trim. There are a couple other nice features along here as well, such as the standard 18-inch painted alloy wheels. However, in Cadillac's upper CT5 models, including this Premium Luxury, you can upgrade those to either 19 or 20-inch wide wheels if you really want to stun. Now, one thing I'm not a huge fan of with the exterior of this car is actually going to come in with these door handles. Not only are they absolutely massive, which just looks a little bit odd on this car, but they also feature kind of a weird technology that I'm not a huge fan of. Rather than pulling out like normal door handles, there's actually a very small button on the back of them that you have to press to open the doors. And to me, well, it's kind of a cool feature. It just seems like one extra thing to break and one more thing to worry about when getting in or out of the CT5. It's kind of a pain, especially considering the button is so small. It's a cool feature, but at the end of the day, I think I would just prefer to grab the door handle and yank it open like normal. So that is a very minor complaint with the exterior of the CT5, but things are really more positive in the rear of the car, where you've got standard LED lights where you can actually pay extra to get an available gray tinted design that looks really sporty and really cool, as well as 2 chrome exhaust outlets. But finally, let's finish off this full in-depth review of the CT5 with a look at the more technical and mechanical side of the CT5, rather than just the features and the design. And that starts here under the hood of the CT5, where Cadillac actually offers 2 different engine options. The base models get a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which puts out around 237 horsepower while getting a combined 26 mpg. However, if that's not enough performance for you and your CT5, there's also this. Cadillac's 3-liter twin turbocharged V6, which offers 335 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque with the rear-wheel drive powertrain. Now, this also has a 10-speed automatic transmission, so you're definitely going to be getting some pretty serious acceleration and good all-around performance from this engine. Now, Cadillac also offers a more performance-oriented version of the CT5 called the V-Series, which offers this engine but tuned to produce more power. If you guys want to see a review of that model, definitely leave a comment down below. I could definitely come back and do that sometime as well. And hey, speaking of reviewing other cars, I've actually done a lot of reviews of cars in this segment, similar to this luxury CT5. So if you want to check those out to maybe consider an alternative to this car, definitely click on one of the cards on the screen right there. I'd also like to extend a huge shout out and special thank you to Dimmitt Cadillac in Clearwater for providing me with this CT5 to review today. There'll be a link to their inventory down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.